Hey, welcome everybody to the 40 Finance channel. If you follow the channel, you know that I'm always intrigued by the semiconductor industry, particularly this past 12 to 15 months or so, where chip demand is certainly outstripping supply, and the challenges that we're seeing across the board in supply chain on nearly every sector. So for me anyway, I really enjoy following semiconductors because you just have this huge growth in technology and the capabilities and the size and the speed of everything going on in the space. And then right now anyway, we have the supply chain and the output concerns that are going on. And if you listen to the analysts and read their reports and even other YouTube channels, you'll see it's sort of a mixed bag on where people think that this industry is going in terms of revenue and profits next year. On the one hand, you have the outstrip of supply, which of course, is technically bullish, but it also limits how much profit a certain company can make if they can't sell everything that they're capable of producing. And then on the flip side, you have a lot of fear in the market that eventually the supply catches up, prices drop, and the risk there, of course, is that some of these companies go from this raging bull market where everything they build, gets sold at a high premium, and then it could turn into a situation where demand is actually met, prices go down, and all of a sudden these semiconductor stocks, they'll still be doing well, they'll still crank out money, but they could be facing lower margins, and perhaps that leads to declining sales and revenue. So for this video, I'm just going to pull up a few sources, take a look at the 10 big names in the semiconductor space, try to find maybe some names that are below their fair value, and speculate on if they can continue to produce outsized returns in the future. All right, we'll start here at Morningstar. And again, we're looking at semiconductor industry, which is in the technology sector. For my purposes, I'm looking at NASDAQ and NYSE stocks. And we're going to sort by market cap. So we're going to pick off like the top 10 names here as we are in earnings season. And a couple of these, I believe, have already reported. And the goal here is just to take the pulse from a couple different perspectives and see what we can find. So if you just go on market cap sorting, we've got NVIDIA, Taiwan Semi, Intel, Broadcom, Texas Instruments, Qualcomm, AMD, ADI, Micron, and Marvell. I'm also going to throw in down here Skyworks Solutions, only because it's a stock that I follow. So even though it's not a top 10 on market cap, we're going to include it in the results. All right, so NVIDIA, and this is just Morningstar opinion, Morningstar analysis, okay? NVIDIA, they've got a Morningstar rating of 2, which just represents NVIDIA versus the price it's being sold at today. Economic moat of wide, which is very good. Uncertainty rating of very high. Price to fair value, 1.6 times the Morningstar fair value. And for those of you who don't follow Morningstar very often, here's how sort of the fair value works. The analysts assign a price to this one, fair value of 138 based on their research. These prices get updated. You see a price here that was updated on February 4th, 2021. However, they do little updates that don't show up as often. So for NVIDIA, for example, the fair value was updated on July 20th. And I imagine after this earnings report, we'll see yet another update from Morningstar. But for purposes of this video, the last close was $223. They have a fair value of 138. So in essence, the 1.62 puts NVIDIA at a 62% premium in the eyes of Morningstar. So that's how price to fair value works. I'm just using NVIDIA as an example. Okay, so let's go back to our table here. Number 2 in terms of market cap is TSM. This is a stock that I own. They have a 4-star price on that one. Price to fair value of 0.82. And just a reminder that 1 would equal that the price today is exactly at the fair value that Morningstar is giving it. So they're saying TSM slightly below, only 82% of fair value. Intel, all right, another 4-star stock, coming in at 85% currently of its fair value. Broadcom, AVGO, this one in their world overvalued by 28%. Texas Instruments, 1.19, so about a 20% premium on this one. QUALCOMM, 0.97, so that's a good example of one that's trading, right at its fair value. AMD, which recently, by the way, got upgraded to a narrow economic moat, which is interesting. For a long time, they gave them no economic moat because AMD does not produce their own chips, but they've been upgraded to narrow, trading right about fair value 1.07. ADI comes in at 1.16. Micron, 0.75, so 75% of fair value. I think right now, yeah, that would be our leader right now if we ended here. Marvell, 36% over what Morningstar sees. And how's Skyworks doing? Down here at the bottom. Again, I'm just jumping around with Skyworks. They're coming in undervalued at 82% of their full fair value. All right, so if we just stopped there and said, Morningstar was the Bible and we're not going to look at anything else, you basically have 5 names that are trading under their fair value. Those were Taiwan Semi, Intel, Micron, Skyworks, which I just sort of threw in there, and then Qualcomm at 0.97. That's just a hair under its fair value. Okay, so now let's switch over to TipRanks to take a look at how the best performing analysts on Wall Street view each of these names. So getting another view on each stock from an analyst perspective, and more specifically from the best performing analysts, so people who have done well following each of these stocks. Let's take a look here. So I plugged in all the names. Wanted to sort by market cap. I don't know why ADI is coming up as the top market cap. I don't think that's correct, but it doesn't really matter. Analog devices, current price, $177, 45% up this year. Best analyst consensus. So that's a collection of the best performing analysts. You got 9 buys, 3 holds. Top price target, 191, 8% upside. These price targets are about for 12 months from today, and most likely when we get through the earnings for each company, each analyst will come in and readjust their price target based on the news that they hear. Taiwan Semi, $116. It's listed as a hold by only one analyst, but it does have a $120 upside. So with that hold, there is still upside, 2.9%. What I feel the difference is here compared to what we saw in Morningstar. Some of Morningstar is a numeric calculation, whereas I could see that the human opinion, if you will, of Taiwan Semi would be a little jittery with the sort of geopolitical things that are going on with China and Taiwan. NVIDIA, so this is one of the more overvalued stocks in the Morningstar world. It's already up 63% this year. You got a strong buy, 23 buys, 1 hold, 1 sell. Interesting though that the high upside from here over the next 12 months is only 7.92%. So while these analysts have strong buy, they are also not projecting a whole lot of room to run, at least over the short term. Intel, current price 55. It's only up 6% this year. Some of these have dividends, so you have to keep that in mind. You got 7 buys, 10 holds, and 7 sells. Potential upside about 9% from $60. You know, with Intel, I think most people who are going to invest in that recognize that, you know, it's more like a 2 to 3 year hold if you want to extract the maximum value. Broadcom, AVGO, up 39% this year. It's got a strong buy rating, 19 buys, 2 holds, and 11% upside in the opinion of analysts. All right, I had to refresh my screen here, so let me pick this up. Texas Instruments, $199. It's up 34% this year. You got a moderate buy, 10 buys, 3 holds, 2 sells. 8% upside to 217. QUALCOMM, 132, up 5% this year. Strong buy, 11 buys, 3 holds, 0 sells. And our first big upside target, $177 for the best performing analyst. That's plus 33%. Micron, which I've talked a lot about Micron potentially being either a great value or a great value trap, and I haven't figured it out yet either. The problem with Micron, you don't get a lot of moat out of them, but this one is close on my watch list here. 68.83, it's up 26%, moderate buy, 15 buys, 6 holds, 0 sells, and it leads the way, I think, in upside, 42% to 97.90 is what one analyst believes. Marvell, 67, that one's already jumped 63% this year, 17 buys, 3 holds, and an upside still in double digits, despite this huge run-up this year, 13% to $76. And lastly, the one I did sort of just for fun, Skyworks at 166. It's only up 10% this year. Okay, that's why it kind of intrigues me a little bit. Got 9 buys, 4 holds, potential upside 38%. So at least from the TipRanks side, you would argue Skyworks, Micron, and QUALCOMM are offering the most upside over the next 12 months. Now, out of those names, you had Micron, Skyworks, and then QUALCOMM was right at fair value in the Morningstar game. So really the standout here, if you just wanted to cross-compare the two different data sets of projections, they would lean towards Skyworks and Micron. Those two names would be sort of aligned in both worlds of having the biggest upside over the next 12 months based on where they're priced at today. All right, so those are 10 or so names that we're thinking about. Where do they sit today? Where could they go tomorrow? Still a lot of information to be had in this quarterly earnings season to hear where things go. But as it sits right now, if you wanted to compare two databases, the argument is that Skyworks Solutions, Micron, and potentially Qualcomm both sit in a good spot, at least for buying at today's price and potentially seeing well over double-digit returns in the next 12 months. All right, so I hope you enjoyed that look at those 10 or so semiconductor stocks and where they might land over the next year. Let me know which ones you think will be the top ROI stocks in that time period in the comments. And as always, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, all the things. We'll see you on the next one.